Right now, for the first time in more than 2 decades, the world is holding its breath, and all eyes are on the waters of the Middle East. You have to understand, this isn't just another political spat. This is a war footing. So let's break down exactly what is happening. The date is February 21st, 2026. The waters here are literally churning under the weight of a massive naval armada. We're talking 2 supercarriers and an umbrella of surveillance planes that have turned the sky above into a digital grid. It's an absolutely immense projection of power. And at the heart of it all, a 10-day ultimatum has been issued. A limited strike on Iran's most sensitive nuclear and missile sites is officially on the table. And in response, Tehran just did the one thing the global economy fears most. They've effectively shut down the Strait of Hormuz. We are on the brink of a major global crisis, and we're breaking down how we got here. And you're going to want to stay till the end, because some of the implications I'm going to reveal are truly shocking. All right, let's get back to it. To really get a grip on just how serious this is, we need to look at the sheer firepower that's been assembled in the region. This isn't just a show of force, you see. This is a fleet that's been designed for a whole new era of warfare, and its capabilities are absolutely central to this entire standoff. 17. Just let that number sink in. That's how many U.S. warships are currently in the theater of operations. A deployment of this magnitude, well, it signals that we have moved way beyond simple deterrence and deep into active preparation for a conflict. And the heart of this force, the real muscle, are 2 supercarriers, the veteran USS Abraham Lincoln and the fleet's centerpiece, the brand new USS Gerald R. Now, having 2 carriers out there allows for relentless 24-hour flight operations, a projection of force that is incredibly difficult to counter directly. Now, the USS Gerald R, this is where things get really next level. It's equipped with the new Electromagnetic Aircraft Launch System, or EMALS. And believe me, this technology is a complete game changer. It means more planes, including the most advanced stealth fighters and drones, can be launched faster and with less wear and tear. That allows them to sustain a tempo of operations that was just impossible before. This isn't an upgrade, it is a generational leap in naval power. Okay, so that's the punch, but what about the shield? Well, that's where the escort fleet of cruisers and destroyers comes in. They are running the very latest Aegis combat systems, which have been specifically designed and tuned to track and destroy the exact kind of anti-ship ballistic missiles that Iran has been developing. And floating above all of this, you've got what's essentially a god's eye view. It's the largest concentration of intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance assets in history. Every single missile battery, every speedboat, every radar blip on the Iranian coast is being tracked in real time. That gives the US a staggering intelligence advantage. So, you've got all this incredible military hardware parked in one place. The big question is, what's the plan? The answer lies in that 10-day deadline, a move that combines overwhelming military power with some very high-stakes psychological warfare. And this is the statement from the White House on February 20th that basically lit the fuse. The language couldn't be clearer. Freeze and verify or face a limited but devastating operation. The diplomatic off-ramps are closing, and they're closing fast. So why 10 days? It's not some random number. There's a very specific 2-pronged logic at play here. First, it's about psychology. It creates what's called a compressional crisis, designed to force Iran's leaders into making a decision under extreme duress. And second, it's military. 10 days is the exact window needed for the final logistics ships to move into their designated launch boxes, ready to strike at a moment's notice. And let's be clear about the objective of that potential strike. This isn't about regime change. The goal is what some military analysts call strategic castration, pinpoint attacks designed to completely neutralize Iran's nuclear and long-range missile programs, effectively taking their most dangerous weapons off the board in a single night. Now, you can bet Iran wasn't just going to sit there and take it. Their response was immediate, it was calculated, and it was aimed squarely at the biggest weak point of the entire global economy, the Strait of Hormuz. Just 21 miles. At its narrowest point, that's it. That's the entire width of the Strait of Hormuz. It's a tiny, tiny gap on the map that holds an immense amount of global power. So how much power does that little strip of water hold? Well, roughly 20% of all the world's petroleum flows through this single choke point every single day. By announcing prolonged live-fire drills, Iran is sending a crystal-clear message. They can turn off the tap to the global energy supply whenever they want. Okay, so the big question is, can they actually pull this off against the might of the US Navy? The answer is, they're not even going to try to fight that fight. Their entire doctrine is built on what's called asymmetric warfare. We're talking swarms of fast attack boats, sea mines, quiet submarines, and coastal missiles, all designed to overwhelm even the most sophisticated defenses. They don't need to win, they just need one missile or one mine to get through to cause a global catastrophe. And, of course, a crisis like this never happens in a bubble. The shockwaves are already being felt far beyond the Persian Gulf, threatening to fracture an already fragile global economy and geopolitical landscape. Now, a lot of people are drawing parallels to the 2003 buildup to the Iraq War, but you have to understand, this is a completely different beast. The goal isn't a ground invasion, it's standoff warfare with incredibly precise weapons. And maybe most importantly, China is no longer a passive observer. A US war with Iran would divert American attention and resources away from the Indo-Pacific, creating a power vacuum that Beijing would be watching very, very intensely. And here's where it hits home for, well, all of us. Just on the threat of the Strait's closure, oil prices have already rocketed towards $120 a barrel. This isn't some theoretical economic model. This is a direct hit to the global economy and to your wallet. But trust me, the pain at the pump is just the tip of the iceberg. What economists are really worried about is a full-on global supply chain cardiac arrest. You have to remember, oil is the foundation for almost everything, from plastics to fertilizers. Halting its flow would trap Qatar's vital natural gas exports, which would devastate Europe's energy security and trigger a domino effect of economic failures around the world. And that brings us full circle. It explains why all those ships are there. It's not just about offense, not just about striking Iran. A primary mission for many of those 17 warships has now become the logistical nightmare of convoy protection, escorting the world's oil tankers through a gauntlet of Iranian mines, drones, and missiles. So here we are, in completely uncharted waters. The military hardware is locked and loaded, the diplomatic lines are drawn in the sand, and the entire world is counting down a 10-day fuse that could very well reshape the next decade. And that leaves all of us with a really tough question, doesn't it? Is this massive military buildup a necessary show of force to prevent a nuclear-armed Iran? Or is it a reckless escalation, pushing the world toward a conflict with consequences none of us can fully predict? The answer to that question is going to be written in the next few days. The stakes for the entire world have never been higher. To make sure you don't miss any updates as this whole thing unfolds, be sure to subscribe to the channel.